So I just posted a video on how to rekey a doorknob lock, and now I've got a deadbolt over here. So it's a Schlage, and it's I've also posted a video if you want to check my channel on how to do a whole rekeying with a pinning kit. But the this video is going to be, I've got somebody who is going to be having some vendors come over and do some work, and they're going to need a key for a couple days, and they really don't want them to have a key that's gonna, they don't want to rekey the house, the whole house, and then have to rekey it again. So what they're going to be doing is they're giving them the old key that they saved, and they saved the old pins when they rekeyed the lock. If you don't have the old pins, you can buy a pinning kit. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking this lock apart. Sorry, that was the dog that was over there. I'm going to be taking this lock apart. I'm going to be putting the old key in to remove the pins. I'm going to show you how to do that, and then I'm going to rekey it to this old key, which they will be using for just 3 or 4 days, and then after the job is done, they're going to have me rekey it back to the original. That way they don't have to rekey all the locks in the house. They're just going to change one, the deadbolt and the doorknob in the front. So, like any standard lock, you just have to figure out how you're going to take this thing apart. Not too hard to do. It's fairly self-explanatory, so I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but with this, looks like I just take a screwdriver, pop it up here, take this off, take the screw out, remove the cylinder, and then we'll get down to the real business at hand. So I think with this one, it is strictly just taking off this plastic cover. Is that what I'm doing? Just go slow. Be really careful when you do this stuff. You don't want to break anything. It's the whole catch. You definitely don't want to break stuff. I'm going to take off the screw that's over here first to see what I need to do. Because that screw's going to have to come off anyway, so take it off the screw. And if you want to, you can take a photograph with your cell phone, or you can put little markings on there, like I have done. So the screw was the way to do this. The cylinder comes out, and now we've just got the cam on the back. We got to take the cam off. So with this, it looks like you just pull on this thing. I'm going to go in there and pry a little bit so I don't do any damage. But you just go in there and pry this thing off. Your lock might vary on how that works. And so we have a little pin over here. See that little pin? So you're going to take a screwdriver. I think this lock only goes in, it only tightens down so much, so I don't really have too many options with it. But you press down on that pin, and you take off your cam. And you take this, be really careful with this one. You've got this pin over here. You lose this, you're in trouble. Remember how this comes out also. Short little piece on the back. I'm going to run out of battery soon. Let me see if I can get this video done in time. There's a spring in here. You don't want to lose that spring, or you have to go out and buy a new lock. So what you want to do now is take your old key. You're going to take this old key. You're going to take the old key and you're going to pop it in the lock. Then you're going to turn the key. You don't want the pins to be, you want the key to be sideways, 90 degrees. And then you're going to take a follower. Hopefully you've got a follower. If you don't, you're in trouble. A follower, all that does is it keeps the top pins and the springs in the lock. And you're just going to take this thing and slide it off. And that's not working right. This might not be the right follower. It should be the right follower. There it is. If you mess this up, then check my videos out. I show how to put the springs and the pins back in. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your pins out. If you're going to rekey again, you want to save these pins in a You can take them down on a card if you want to, so you don't have to figure out the order. Just measure them later, just do it by chance. Or if you're just going to rekey, then you throw these pins away and grab some new pins. So I'm going to take these out. All right, so we're going to take the new key, or the replacement key. Again, if you don't have pins, go buy a pinning kit. I posted a video on a pinning kit. I just rekeyed one, so you can check out my videos if you want to watch how I did the doorknob, but I've already got the 5 pins out, so I put them in order so I don't have to waste time showing you how to do this again. And what is happening is I'm putting these pins in when they're the right pins. They're, ooh, you don't want the point facing up, or you're not going to get this lock opened. You want the flat on the bottom, the flat on the top. And what ends up happening is when the key is the right depth and the pins are the right size, the cylinder turns in the lock and it opens it up. So, putting all the pins in there, make sure the flat is on the top, and then I'm going to go back and slowly, carefully, so you don't throw these springs and top pins around, like I almost did, go back and put this thing back in. It's trying to catch. This is not the right follower. And that is how you rekey a lock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the spring back in here. I'm going to put the pin back in here. That's why I've got a paper towel here. You can also use cloth so things don't go rolling around and flying around the room, and then you've really got a real problem. Make sure you get the pin to pop out of that little hole between the spacer. Get a paper clip or a screwdriver, press the pin down, start turning. Go slow. You don't want to damage the threads. You don't want to cross thread anything. Just take your time. Put this thing on. If it's not too tight, then the lock is going to flop around and your key's not going to come out. If it's too tight, the key's not going to turn. Press the pin in, keep turning as far as you can. Okay, the washer is kind of jumping around, so the pin wasn't pressing through. So again, you want it almost tight, but not 100% tight that the lock's not going to turn. Let's check it now. That's very tight. I don't know if it's even going to turn. No, it's not going to turn. See? Okay, that's too tight. So I'm going to back it off 1 notcheroo. I'd like to get the key out of here, if I can. Ugh. I'll back it off just 1. And I made that really tight. Okay, that's a little looser. Let's see what happens here. It's kind of a messed up lock. It's kind of binding. The pins are kind of binding right now, as you can hear. The keys are kind of worn. The pins aren't that great, but this is just a temporary thing. So we've got 2 keys that are working. Put the 3rd key in. So that's how you rekey a lock. You just put the thing back together again. We'll go put the cylinder in there. I'm going to go slow. You don't want to strip the screw over here, cheap metal in the back of the lock. Get the screw in there. And then the final part is I'm going to be putting, I think it's called a cam. I'm going to be putting that piece back on. And if it doesn't work, if it doesn't turn your lock, then you've got it in the wrong position. That's why sometimes you want to put little markings on there. You see I've got red over here. I've got red over here, which tells me it's the bottom. I've got a little piece of red over here, which tells me that this should line up. It should all line up. And that's how it would go. You'd see, see? Red, red, and the red. Press it down, turn this in the right direction, put it back in the deadbolt in the door, and that's how you rekey a deadbolt for Schlage. Thanks for watching.